Tell me if this sounds familiar. You wake up in the morning, swing your legs out of bed, and your lower back feels tight. You go downstairs and your knees complain, somewhere around step 3. Later, you reach into your back seat of your car and your shoulder gives that familiar little click. And you think,
sucks to get old.
What are you gonna do about it? Like the human body is a car whose warranty expires at 35. As if pain is just, part of the deal. You weren't blessed with the right genetics. Eventually your knee goes, eventually your back goes, eventually your shoulder goes. You've never had good shoulders anyway. Then you get surgery, just part of it. And then you do rehab, or not. And then you take Advil, it's daily vitamin, and you just deal with it. It's just part of getting older. Gotta rest it more, right? Except here's the uncomfortable truth. Most of those injuries are not random. They're entirely predictable. And in a lot of cases, they're preventable. Low back pain alone affects about 80% of adults at some point in their lives, according to the NIH. It's also one of the leading causes of disability worldwide, according to the Global Burden of Disease study. Knee injuries lead to hundreds of thousands of surgeries every year, including roughly 790,000 knee replacements annually in the United States alone. And shoulder pain? About 1 in 4 adults experience shoulder pain in a given year. So if something hurts in your body, statistically speaking, probably one of these 3 places: your knees, your shoulders, or your lower back. Today we're going to talk about how to bulletproof those 3 joints. Because contrary to popular belief, your body is not supposed to fall apart. There is something you can do, and you don't have to just rest and deal with it. Most people train muscles, but if you actually want to stay pain-free for decades, you have to protect movement systems. And 3 joints carry the majority of the load in the human body: your knees, your shoulders, your lower back. Think of them like shock absorbers. Your knees absorb forces between your hips and ankles. Your shoulders absorb forces between your spine and your arms. And your lower back absorbs forces between your entire upper and lower body. So if something above or below those joints isn't doing its job, those areas take the hit over and over and over again until one day they protest. And we call that injury. But most of the time, it's not an injury. It's years of neglect showing up all at once. Here's the psychology piece that's important to understand. People don't ignore these issues because they don't care. Trust me, pain is a great motivator. They ignore them because the work that fixes them, it isn't flashy. It's not sweaty. It doesn't give you a pump. It's not always very clear. It doesn't make you feel like you crushed a workout. It's slow. It's controlled. It's technical. It involves stabilizers, joint mechanics, learning how your body actually works. And most people would rather just do junk volume. They want the burn. They want the sweat. They want to feel like they're doing something. They want the Instagram workout instead of doing the boring work that actually keeps your body functional so that you can do all that work. Here's another thing people forget. They say they want to look good, and they think these things don't matter for aesthetics, just for, yogis and people who are all like woo-woo-woo in their bodies. But moving poorly changes how your body develops. If your shoulders are internally rotated all day, your chest gets tight. You can't build it to its full capacity. Your upper traps get overworked. Your neck sticks forward. You look like a hunchback. Not cute. And suddenly the physique you're trying to build starts looking like a question mark. Your glutes are weak and your hips don't work properly. Your quads take over, knees cave in, and you get that quad dominant look instead of balanced legs. Flat. You know what I'm saying? Your body literally develops according to the forces you put through it, which means poor movement doesn't just cause pain, it also changes how your body looks. Now here's the part nobody likes to hear. Sorry. Most injuries people blame on bad luck or genetics are completely predictable, not random, not mysterious, just physics playing out over time. And according to the Journal of Occupational and Environmental Medicine, back pain alone results in over 264 million lost workdays in the United States every year. That's not soreness. That's life disruption. That's time off. That's depression. That's medical bills. That's rehab. That's surgery. And the irony is, most of these problems started as tiny weaknesses people ignored over years. So today, we're going to fix the 3 biggest weak links in the human body so you don't have to take that time off and go through that pain and loss and medical and financial stress, starting with your knees. People love saying they just have bad knees. But knees are rarely the problem. The knee is basically a hinge joint stuck between two ball and socket joints, your hips and your ankles. And if these joints don't move well, your knee compensates. One of the most common movement problems is knee valgus, where the knee collapses inward during movement. You see it during squats, running, jumping, even walking. According to research by Dr. Timothy Hewitt, published in the American Journal of Sports Medicine, athletes who display excessive knee valgus have up to 4 times greater risk of ALC injury. 4 times. So imagine what the average person, non-athlete, is dealing with. An ALC reconstruction surgery isn't small. ALC surgery plus rehab can cost $20,000 to $50,000 and requires 6 to 12 months of recovery. That's time off your feet. All because the muscles that stabilize the knee weren't trained. So let's fix that. Starting with step downs. For your lateral step down and ups, you'll need a low step. Something pretty low so that you can really be practicing. Again, we're working on stability in your pelvis from your foot up to your pelvis. You can always get a higher box once you know you're not going to be hiking up a side of your hip or starting to go into your spine at all. So you're going to stand on the very side of the step. From here, the foot that is off the step is going to be flexed. You're going to push your hips back. Now I want that pelvis to stay level. You're not sinking into the hip that you're standing on. The foot is just going to step down on the floor, next to the foot that's on the bench. So your hips are going to go back. You're going to come into this hinge. Your pelvis is going to stay level as you bring yourself back up again. And hips go back, set the foot down right next to the one that's on the step, and then right back up again. You can watch yourself in the mirror or film yourself, because we don't even know sometimes when we are starting to hike in because it's just so habitual to us. The ankle could be the problem if there is a problem, or it could be purely the stability in the hip. So watch yourself. Boom, boom. Boom, boom. Keeping your spine nice and upright, you're going to make sure that you're coming into this hinge, so you're not just coming forward, moving into a flexion just with that foot, but you are letting your hips go back and your knee bend. Up and down. You also want to make sure the knee of the standing leg is not moving in or out. That's part of the stability that you're needing from your hip to stabilize your knee. So you want to make sure it tracks right over that second toe, the one right next to your big toe. Up. It's staying still. Pelvis is level, knee is stable. The important part is watching your knee. Your knee should track over your second toe, not collapse inward. This trains your glutes and hip stabilizers and ankles to control knee alignment. Slow, controlled. Think quality over ego. Second is single leg Romanian deadlifts. If step downs train knee alignment, this trains force control. For your multi-directional single-legged RDL, you're going to be practice reaching in different directions so that you can really practice balancing as your pelvis rotates over your foot. So we'll start with your single leg deadlift. You're going to start standing on your leg. We're going to go forward first. Both arms are reaching forward. As you hinge your hips back, you're reaching straight forward to counterbalance. When you come up, you're going to take your outside hand opposite to the leg you're standing on. You're going to reach across in the direction of the leg you're standing on as you pivot as far over as you can. Nice stability from the ankle to the hip. Come up. Then you're going to take the arm the same side that you're standing on, and you're going to reach the opposite direction. See if you can rotate and reach. And then back. So reaching forward, both arms to counterbalance. Exhale up. Opposite arm from the leg you're standing on, reaching towards the direction that your leg's standing on. Reaching and up. Same side now, reaching in the opposite direction. And up. From the side, it's going to look like this. Reaching forward, straight in front. Opposite. Then the leg you're standing on, towards the direction of the leg you're standing on. Find that small rotation, find the stability in your rotation. Same side now of the leg you're standing on, reaching the opposite direction, reaching across. This strengthens glutes, hamstrings, hip stabilizers. Balance training dramatically reduces injury risk. A systematic review published in the British Journal of Sports Medicine found neuromuscular training programs can reduce lower extremity injuries by up to 50%, which means doing this exercise a few times a week could literally cut your injury risk in half. But most people skip it because it's not sexy, or they do it wrong because that takes less thought and effort. So here's the uncomfortable reality. You actually have two choices. You can keep saying, my knees just suck. What are you gonna do? It's just part of getting old. Everyone has a knee surgery at some point. I'll just rest it. I won't do anything about it. Complaining about stairs. Assuming surgery is just, inevitable. Everyone's gotta spend that money, take that time off. Or you could spend 5 minutes a few times per week strengthening the muscles that protect your knees. Guys, save yourself the pain. Save yourself thousands and thousands of dollars spent and lost. Save yourself months of rehab and depression, because knee pain isn't usually fate. It's physics. And physics responds very well to strength training. All right, let's move on to shoulders. Your shoulder is the most mobile joint in the human body, which also makes it the least stable. Your shoulder joint is basically a golf ball sitting on a tee, which means the muscles around it have to stabilize it constantly. But modern training tends to ignore those muscles. People hammer pressing exercises, bench press, push-ups, chest press, overhead press, but they neglect the muscles that actually hold the joint together. The rotator cuff, the mid-back, the scapular stabilizers. Over time, the shoulder gets pulled forward into internal rotation. The joint loses space. And eventually, we start hearing words like shoulder impingement. According to research published in the American Journal of Sports Medicine, poor scapular control and rotator cuff weakness are major contributors to shoulder pain and impingement. And shoulder surgery? Also not small. Rotator cuff repairs can cost $15,000 to $30,000 and require months of rehab. Again, preventable. So let's start with prone external rotation. You're gonna need a towel or something that you can use to have underneath your shoulder. This is just to make sure that you're not letting the shoulder dump forward, but you're actually letting it stay back so that you can get the full rotation from your shoulder. So just roll up your towel or whatever you have, and you're gonna have it at a slight angle, but it's gonna be right on the head of the humerus, so your arm bone just pushing back a little bit. The elbow will be bent out to the side, 90 degrees. From here, you can just rest your forehead on your opposite hand, and you're thinking about pressing your elbow lightly into the floor as you slowly just rotate that hand off of the floor. Hold, and then lower it back down. Exhaling as you lift. Getting to the end range of motion, seeing if you can go a little bit further before you lower it back down. This is pretty intense, so start, if you need to start with a thumb up, that does help get a little bit more into the shoulder and a little bit more rotation. So start there if you need to. We're trying to isolate your arm bone in your shoulder socket. Can you separate the two? This trains the rotator cuff in the overhead position, which is where many injuries actually occur, with or without load. Slow, controlled. Second exercise is the arm bar. Now we add in the stability. So for your unloaded arm bar, you're gonna be on your back, and we're gonna be focusing on both your shoulder rotation as well as your spinal rotation. So I'm gonna make a fist with my right arm. The arm is locked out. Imagine you're balancing a glass of water on this fist. So you're trying not to let it move all over the place or let it get anywhere aside from stacked on top of your shoulder. Elbow is locked out, same leg will be bent. From here, I'm gonna reach my left arm out to the side. I'm gonna punch the ceiling, push through this right leg as I roll onto my side as far as I can, keeping my eyes on that hand. Rotating my arm so the palm is gonna face away from me. And then to come back, I'm gonna reverse it, rotating my palm back in. I'm gonna come back into my back with control, bringing my foot to the floor. With control, I'm coming back onto my back. Last thing, drop that shoulder down to the floor. Not bending the elbow, but keeping it locked out. So it's gonna look like this. Your rotator cuff and scapulizer stabilizers fire like crazy to keep the joint centered. You're teaching your shoulder to own its position under load. And now let's move on to the lower back. Let's talk about the most blamed body part on earth, the lower back. Here's something interesting. In many cases, the lower back isn't actually weak. It's actually overworked because people use their back when they should be using their core or their hips. And there's a very simple reason for that: your breath. And the biggest missing skill, breathing. Like real breathing, not chest breathing, not shallow breathing, actually diaphragmatic breathing. Your diaphragm is actually part of your core stabilization system. Shocker. When the diaphragm works together with the abdominal wall and pelvic floor, it creates spinal stability. According to spine biomechanist Dr. Stuart McGill, core endurance and stability are among the strongest predictors of spinal health. Meaning the goal is not moving your spine more. It's keeping your spine stable while your limbs move. So let's start with everyone's favorite, the dead bug. We're gonna be practicing going overhead with the arms without flaring the rib cage, while at the same time lowering our feet without letting our lower back arch. So it's ribs down, belly in are gonna be the two main cues you're gonna really wanna think about. So you're gonna start with your legs in tabletop, feet are gonna be flexed. Reach your arms to the ceiling, palms face each other. Take a breath in. As you lower and tap the heels, reaching overhead, exhale. As you bring everything back up. So this is the part where you really want to brace nice and strong, ribs down, belly in, and then exhale to lift it up. I want you to really be careful not to rest your feet on the floor. I want to keep you to just tap, so you keep all of the tension in your core. Your lower back should not move. I don't mean push it down to the floor. The goal isn't touching the floor. The goal is stability. Most people rush this or push their stomach out. They let their legs drop too low because it seems more intense. They move too fast. But the real challenge is staying perfectly still. Nothing should move. Less low back pain. Second exercise, bird dogs. On your hands and knees, extend opposite arm and leg. Pause. Your spine should stay neutral and your pelvis should not move. No twisting, no arching, no dropping down into your shoulder. According to McGill's spinal stability research, bird dog activates deep stabilizers while placing minimal compressive load on the spine, making it ideal for back health. Now let's put it all together because your body doesn't move in isolated parts. Here is a 10-minute bulletproof routine. Start with dead bugs for 10 and bird dogs for 8 each side. Move on to step downs for 8 on each leg. Single leg RDLs for 8 on each leg. Move on to your overhead external rotation lift, 10 each side. Then arm barbs for 6 per side. Do this 2 to 3 rounds, 3 to 4 times a week, 10 minutes. Or you can just take the parts that are bothering you the most and actually do something about it. Here's the truth most people don't want to hear. Your body doesn't suddenly break down. It breaks down gradually. Years of small weaknesses, years of ignored mechanics, years of choosing convenience over maintenance. But the opposite is also true. Small, consistent improvements build a body that is stronger, more stable, and more resilient. You don't have to accept pain as part of aging. It's got enough fun things coming for you. You just have to train smarter. Protect the joints that take the most abuse, your knees, your shoulders, and your lower back. Don't be a statistic that is entirely preventable. Show yourself some ownership. Try this routine for the next 2 weeks, 10 minutes, 3 times a week. Then tell me in the comments which areas feel the most different. And if you want to learn how to move better and stay pain-free long-term, watch my next video on mobility and what that actually means. And subscribe if you want more science-backed training without the nonsense and how to put it into your real life, because the goal isn't just getting stronger, it's staying strong for life. I'll see you in the next one.